Good morning and welcome to our Week 8 math video. This week and next week we will be looking at fractions. Monday was a catch-up day. Today we are exploring equal parts. Wednesday is exploring fractions of a length, and Thursday, Friday is practicing. Now your worksheets, this one says my multiplication packet, but if you flip after multiplication, you should see the one that says my fractions packet. That's the one that we're going to be working on this week and next week. First, we have to start by talking about what is a fraction. Now, we talk about fractions in our everyday life, but we don't use the word fraction. So a fraction is part of a whole and represents equal parts of an object or set. So here we have a piece of paper that has been divided into 3 equal parts. You could even imagine this as a chocolate bar, and maybe you eat part of the chocolate bar. See, we've eaten part of it. We've eaten one equal part. And in this case, we've eaten 1/3 of the chocolate bar because it was divided into 3 pieces. 1, 2, 3. Sometimes you could take an object like this here. Maybe this is a square pizza. And you can say, well, 2 of the pieces have been eaten. I'm not quite sure why they didn't eat them beside it, but that's okay. So 2 of the pieces have been crossed out. And this one, in this case, is divided up into 4 pieces or fourths. Now we can sometimes also have a set of objects. Remember, the objects need to be about equal. So in this case, we have counters. 3 of these counters are red and 3 are yellow. We can write this in a fraction by saying 3/6 of the counters are red or 3/6 are yellow. But another way we could also say is that half of the counters are red and half of the counters are yellow. Here's another example. Here we have another set. This is 4 pieces and 1 of them is yellow. Or we can say 3 of the 4 pieces are red. So fractions are made up of a number on top and a number on bottom. The number on top is called the numerator, and the number on bottom is called the denominator. Way that you can remember this is denominator goes down. But it doesn't matter if you forget these names. The really important thing to remember is that on top is the number of pieces that you are looking at, the parts, and on the bottom is the total number of pieces. So on top, you are looking at the parts, and on the bottom is the whole thing. So here we can say that 4 pieces out of 6 are shaded. Here are some words that might help you out. When we're talking about whole, we're talking about the whole thing. So if you imagine these as a bunch of pizzas, here we have a whole pizza. So maybe the whole pizza has been covered in cheese. The whole thing. Here we have half of a pizza. We've used this word a lot of times, and what it represents is 1 out of 2 pieces. So 1 out of 2. Remember, the 1 represents the number that we're looking at, the part, and the 2, the number on the bottom, represents the total number of pieces. Here we have the word third. Again, that means 1 piece, because there is 1 piece in this case, but it's a third of the pizza. It's as if the pizza has been divided into 3 pieces instead of 2. Here we have fourth. So a fourth means that the object or set has been divided into 4 equal pieces. Here we have fifth, which is 5 pieces in total. 6th, which is 6 pieces in total, and 7th, which is 7 pieces in total. 8th would be 8 pieces, 9th would be 9 pieces, and 10th would be 10 pieces. Let's do some examples together. Sometimes our questions will ask if the parts are equal. So if we look at something like here, which one do you think are equal? Well, this one's pretty equal. It would be fair if you had a chocolate bar and you divide it up into fourths. Do you think that would be equal? Yeah, I think so. Here we have a cookie maybe that has been divided in half, and that looks about equal. But what about this one? That one doesn't look equal at all, does it? This person would have quite a bit more than the other people. And here we have a heart, and that is not equal as well, right? The pieces are not the same size. When we have this question here, it is just asking about how many pieces are in it. Name the equal parts. So think back to our words that we used, our fraction words about fourths and thirds and halves and eighths, and tell us how many pieces are in there. So this would be 4 fourths, and there are some examples up here. So fourths, fifths, tenths. What do you think this would be? Now, it wouldn't be tooths. That wouldn't work. Remember what that word was? It's half or halves. Here we have some examples where we're going to talk about the fraction of each strip that is shaded. When we're talking about the fraction of something, we are again, remember, looking at the parts and the whole. So on top, you would put the how many parts, and on the bottom, you would put the whole number, or how many parts are in total, in the total object or set. So here we have how many parts are shaded in? 3. So we're going to write 3. And how many are there in whole, in the total shape? 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're going to draw a line and you're going to put the 4 on the bottom. Here we have a question that's a little bit different. So Inez and Toby shared this fruit bar. Inez ate 3/8 of the bar and Toby ate the rest. But it's asking, what fraction did Toby eat? Now some people might say, oh, it's 3/8 because they see 3/8. But they're not asking how much Inez ate. They're asking how much Toby ate. He ate the rest. So let's look at this, and we're going to draw a picture, and we're going to say, well, these ones are the ones that Inez ate. This was the I, Inez. And then Toby ate the rest. Oh, he's going to have a capital letter because his name. So how much did Toby eat? Well, he ate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He ate 5 pieces out of 8. So 5/8. Here they're asking for you to put a partition. So a partition is just a line that shows the different parts. So here the line is where you would cut the shape to make 2 halves. Here they want you to show partition lines, or lines that you could put something in parts, to divide it in parts, and they say in thirds. So we're going to make lines to make 3 equal parts for partition. And so here they're asking you to complete the sentence. So the fraction bar has how many parts? Equal parts. Well, there are 8 equal parts. And each part, so each would be 1. So each part is how much of the whole thing. So we're going to color in 1 piece. So that's 1 piece. And we're going to say, well, what's the fraction for that? Well, there's 1 piece colored. And how many do we have in total? 8. So we're going to write the 8 on the bottom. Which shape shows the fraction 1/2, or half? So one of these shapes represent this fraction. Well, we know there's 1 piece, 1 part that is colored in, 1 part. So which one of these has one part? Oh, well, these three have one part. So it's got to be one of those. And then you look at the bottom. The bottom number is the whole, or how many parts in total. In the whole thing, how many parts are there? There are 2 parts in total. So there are 2 parts in total, but 1 part is colored in. Which one has 1 part colored in, 2 parts in total? This one right here. Here we are going to use some fraction models to find equivalent fractions, so things that are about equal. So in this case, we have a rectangle, and on top it has been divided into 3 equal parts. But on the bottom, it's the same size rectangle, but they chose to cut it into 6 equal parts. Now, if you imagine this as, say, a chocolate bar, somebody has eaten 1/3 of the chocolate bar here, but they've eaten 2/6 of the chocolate bar. Who has eaten more? Well, actually, they've eaten the same amount. They're equal. So we're going to write that in fractions. So the first fraction that we have over here is 1 part that has been colored out of 3. And on the bottom, this fraction here, this fraction model, has 2 parts out of a total number of 6.